Hi, this is Chase Utley, and this is the Phillies Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Phillies Show. Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki, part of the Foul Territory Network. It's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. Guys, on Wednesday, the Phillies lose, and after the game, Bryce is talking to the reporters, and somebody says, when you're struggling, would you like to keep playing, or would you are you looking forward to the day off? And Bryce goes, I want the day off. I want the day off. What did you guys do on your day off yesterday to clear your mind? Ruben, I knew you were golfing.
We flew in day early because we had the off day here, and we had to fly coast to coast. But I had a great day in Seattle. I really like this city. A lot going on here. It's beautiful, especially this time of the year. It's not raining. You can get great coffee at the original Starbucks. Took a walk down by where the ferries were and all that. But then a bunch of the broadcast guys and Kevin Gregg, we all went to play a little golf at Gold Mountain. But on the way back, so we drove out there.
Okay.
It's actually by Tacoma. It's near Tacoma, Gig Harbor in that area, and had a great day of golf. It was Tom McCarthy, Scott Fransky, Kevin Stocker, and Kevin was the one who kind of put this thing together. It was great. And Kevin Gregg, it was great. Stock's brother came there. They're from this, Pacific Northwest. So
right. His
brother Steve was there, ex-cop. We had a great time, man. We really did. They mentioned Scott Fransky as well. Anyway, We took a ferry back, and we drove out, and then we took the ferry back through Puget Sound. It was just spectacular. I love the area. I love how beautiful and serene it is. And I got a chance to enjoy it a little bit when I first signed. When I first signed with the Angels, Northwest League. We did a lot of traveling up and down the Pacific Northwest there, and fell in love with it then played in the PCL years later, fell in love with it again. A really, really beautiful area, and it's a great place to visit. Really is. True joy. Got away from the game a little bit. Actually,
but how'd you hit him though? Who won?
I think Kevin Stocker.
Oh, Kevin's good. Kevin, he has a good golfer.
He's like a 5. But I actually shot 45 and then a 38 on the back 9, which was
good for
at
you.
The Olympic. I guess it's a 38 on the back 9 was spectacular for me. So I was very, very happy about that. I had a couple of birdies in there, and not bad.
Fantastic. What'd you do, Jim?
I worked in the garden. It was really hot here. It's very, very hot here back home. And I worked in the garden. My garden has reached the jungle stage because when I put it in, I have all this open space and I put stuff everywhere because I get very enthusiastic. But, a couple months later, I paid the price because everything's like a jungle. I can't even walk in there. But it's been a great year. Great year for tomatoes. And I want to show you this. I brought a show and tell item.
You did. All right. This is
wow.
Look at the
tomato.
That's like
your head.
Big as my head. So that's going to.
So this is a great plug. You got to watch the YouTube channel to see Jimmy holding his gargantuan tomato.
It's going to be a nice tomato sandwich right there.
It's like a steroid. There's a little steroid in there.
And I'll give you an idea. Here's my coffee cup, and here's how big it is.
That is
wow.
Awesome.
It's huge, bigger than my nose.
That's awesome. Do they taste good though? Are they sweet?
They're delicious. There's nothing better than a homegrown tomato.
Yeah.
Put it between a slice of bread, a little mayo, a little cheese, salt, pepper. It's just I could eat one I do eat one every day.
Jim will bring these in late in the season, Ruben. He'll bring them into the press box because he'll have you're overloaded with tomatoes, and so you'll bring.
I give them all. I freeze some. I freeze them. I give them to the neighbors. I give them away.
Yeah, you're a very giving man, Jim. You're very, very philanthropic.
He is. Very well. I'm very happy that Ruben, you had a good day, and Jim, your garden is growing strongly.
What about you, Todd?
I was just home. I was just home handling the kids yesterday, shuttling them back and forth from different camps and whatnot. My son was just finished his last day of spy camp. So it basically sounds like he just played video games all day. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he did, but and then I flew out last night. So I knocked out Oppenheimer and the new Mission
Is it Oppenheimer or Oppenheimer?
Oppenheimer. Okay. Yeah, it was a great movie. Great movie. So
was it really? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I gotta check
it's
it out.
good. It's good. Yeah, check it out. It's on Amazon Prime for free. So, well, we all cleared our minds yesterday. Hopefully the Phillies cleared their minds yesterday, played golf, whatever they did, because something's got to change, guys. They've lost 11 out of their last 15. In that stretch, they've lost 3.5 games in the standings to the Braves. They've lost 4 games in the standings to the Dodgers for the best record in the National League. Now they're only up on the Dodgers by 2.5 games. They're only up on the Braves by 6 games. Fans are really concerned. They're really nervous. We've talked about this in the last episode. I don't think any of us are too worried. Are you guys? Is there anything that when you think about it now, you're like, I'm a little.
Well, you obviously get a little jittery, but because they just haven't played well for a longer period of time than you would think, especially with talent on this ball club. But what I did see, and I know the Yankees try to give these couple of games away to them, but they did show some fight and trying to get back into those games. So they did have opportunities to win them. They just it wasn't like they were getting blown up, blown apart. They haven't played their best baseball because they haven't gotten the big base hits when they've needed them, and their situational hitting has been subpar. But that said, they did have some fight in them, and they still had opportunities to win. So it's not like they're laying over and playing dead. They just need to get the big base hit, and they just need to play more crisp baseball because it just, the starting pitching has not been nearly as good as the early part of the season. You've lost Ranger for a while, and the kid Tyler Phillips has pitched extraordinarily well. He's going to pitch again tonight. We'll see how he handles being in Seattle and away from Philadelphia. But I'm okay. I think that obviously it's a much better ball club than we've seen. And I've liked what some of the acquisitions have done so far. Estevez has been excellent. Hayes has done very, very well. Almost won the game a couple of times with a couple of balls that he just missed driving out of the ballpark. So that's a good sign. He's had a couple of good games. He's a good ball player. I like the guy. We'll see, but the big boys have to start coming through. I mean, Turner and Harper really have not been very good at all. Maybe the worst stretch that either one of those two have had. So they got to pick it up.
Yeah, and I honestly think you turn it around by, sometimes we talk about pitching, starting pitching like a young kid maybe taking the mound. Don't try to do too much. Go out and have a good first inning. Okay, we did that. Go out and have a good second inning. Small bites, small chunks. To me, this turnaround starts in a lot of ways, at least offensively, with situational hitting. And I'm not saying play small ball because, I'd rather have a ball that goes over the wall, believe me. But I'm talking about situational hitting. It was kind of obscene that they couldn't get a run home the other night from second base. They couldn't even move the runner to third base. So start with some good situational hitting, some productive outs. Get that runner in from third. Take the one run. You get one, they got to get 2. That's how it's going to. I think the turnaround is going to start both individually and collectively for this team. I mean, the lead is down to 6. I'm not worried because they're going to the postseason. There's 12 teams making the postseason. They're one of the 12 best. They're maybe they're probably one of the top 2 teams in the National League. They're going to the postseason. They banked a lot of wins. Their record would dictate that they're not going to have that type of a downturn here. But that lead, if this bad stretch continues a little longer, and the Braves, I think, are in Florida or with the Marlins playing the Marlins, this thing could get down to 4 in a hurry. And now you start to get a little concerned. So it's time to kick it in, and I think it starts with small chunks. Situational hitting, starting pitching, just going out, win that one inning, win the second inning, and then the big boys should get it going. A lot of teams go through this. Orioles are going through it. Yankees went through it, and they they sort of turned it around in Boston and then took it to the Phillies. There's no reason this thing can't turn around. They do have the personnel to do it. And then, but I think it's got to start on this trip. What would you take on this trip? Would you be happy with 500? I guess the way they're going, I guess we'd have to be.
Yeah, I think 500 would be a good road trip because all three of these teams are playoff. If the season ended today, all three of these teams are in the postseason. Mariners are tied with the Astros in the AL West. Dodgers, we know they're 2.5 back of the Phillies for the best record in the National League, and the Diamondbacks, I think, right now are a wild card team. So I think 5-5 would be pretty good, and anything else is gravy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would take a 500 road trip. It's not an easy road trip. I think there is some feeling that they get to exhale being away from Philadelphia right now, and typically they love playing at home, but when you're going poorly, you sort of want to just exhale a little bit, and I think this is not the worst time for them to be on the road, and it was a very good time for them to get a day off and just get a break, just get a mental break and come back fresh and go to work.
Jim, you mentioned how every team goes through this year. Yeah, I was looking at 4-11 stretches in baseball this year. Yankees had one. They're tied with their Orioles right now in the AL East. Astros had one. They're tied right now with the Mariners in the AL West. And then there's some, Royals are a wild card team. They've had a stretch like this. Mets had a stretch like this. They're a half game out of the wild card. So some pretty decent teams, some really good teams have had stretches like this. And then I went back in Phillies history and I looked at Phillies postseason teams. They had a stretch like this, obviously, early in 2022. Every year, 2007 to 11, these good Phillies teams had a really awful stretch like this, 83, 78, 76. So just putting that into perspective.
The sky didn't fall.
Just putting this. I'm just putting this into perspective. Sometimes this does happen because, the players post game, they say this is baseball. This is part of it. And I just, I don't know if they really know that, but this has happened to me, guys. One of the big things that's going on with this team is the bullpen is just not. Rob's talked about this. They haven't thrown strikes before this run. Strikeout rate was the best in baseball. Walk rate was the third lowest in baseball. Right now, the walk rate is 26th in baseball in this 15-game stretch. So they're walking a ton more guys than they were earlier this season. They got to get back to throwing strikes as well. Strom.
Yeah, that is
all those guys.
That's a cardinal sin, man. Cardinal sin to walk people out of the bullpen. You got to be ready and throw it over the plate. I like I've said before, I've said it a million times. I'd rather have a guy hit the ball off the wall than to be walking guys. I mean, at least somebody's earning it. I just you gotta get ahead. You gotta throw strikes, and they're going through a time as well. I mean, listen, they've had really good pitching. Had really good pitching for a long time. The bullpens can be volatile, but the fact that they got a strike thrower in Estevez, has he thrown a ball yet in his 2 outings? He's thrown like 3 balls, I think. He's a strike thrower, and he's going after people and getting quick outs and stuff like that. So that's a plus, and I think Dave Dombrowski did a nice job in that area.
When a bullpen starts walking people, and it really jumps out at you like this team, in you guys' opinion, is it more mechanical? Is it that they don't trust it, and now they're starting to nibble? Where do you think it kind of goes off kilter there? That with the loss of control / command.
Well, I know, like Rob has said the past few days, he's made a point to say the guys need to start trusting their stuff more and believing in their stuff more. So I don't know if that's a mental. I don't know why. I guess this is just the way the game goes. But why would they all of a sudden stop trusting their stuff? Because it was so nasty earlier in the season. But that seems to be what Rob's theory is that they need to start trusting their stuff more. They've lost faith in it.
So baseball goes into ebbs and flows, and people think, everybody's sort of robotic, right? Well, Bryce Harper is one of the best hitters, if not the best hitter in the game, right? The guy has gone through a terrible stretch. It happens. Same thing with the pitchers. They sometimes they don't get a feel. They don't feel confident in their stuff, and just allowing themselves just to relax and throw it over the plate. It's a confidence thing. And that's the same thing being at the plate when you're in a rut or you're in a slump. Same thing as a base runner when you're not getting good jumps, not feeling comfortable. Same thing as a starting pitcher. If you don't feel like you have the stuff, you're trying to do too much and you're nibbling too much, and you're getting behind in counts. It's a confidence thing because the stuff's there, the talent's there, they have ability, and they just need to go after people. It's as simple as that. I think part of it also is things like kind of turn on themselves. They know that they're not scoring runs, so now they feel like they'd be a little bit more perfect, and they have to throw a 0 up there. And if they don't throw a 0 up there, and have to be, and if somebody happens to pop one, hits a home run or whatever, oh my gosh, we can't overcome that because we're not swinging the bats well. So there's it's like a domino effect that happens, and I think that's what's happened, and that's what happens when teams that have talent go into these mini slumps. And really, it's just a matter of one or two of these pieces getting rolling again and gaining confidence again. And then I think things will start rolling in the right direction.
I agree with that. Confidence is just so much in any sport, almost in any undertaking, because when you're confident, it just happens. Your swing just happens. Your release just happens. I mean, you hit a golf ball, it just happens. When you're thinking too much, a lot can go wrong. You're thinking like, Strom the other night, he probably thought he had to be too fine with that breaking ball. It was to Chisholm. And he just left it up because he's maybe trying to be too fine, didn't have maybe the confidence to just let it go and let that breaking ball just eat like it has all year. And maybe it just doesn't come off your fingertips right. And next thing you know, it's in the second deck. So, I'm sure this whole team is pressing and thinking too much. They just need to get back to doing it organically, letting it happen. But that doesn't start until you perform. They need a good outing, a good game tonight.
I will tell you this: on the flight out here with the team, it didn't seem like guys were down, or it was quieter naturally because they just haven't played well. I mean, naturally, it's going to be a quieter flight, and it's a long flight, but I didn't see, everybody seemed pretty upbeat, pretty normal. And so I didn't see anything that was all that big of a deal. Talked to Rob Thompson. He comes back and chats with the boys in the back of the plane as he normally does. I mean, business as usual, but I will say this. I think that they need to start concentrating on one game and not one series. Let's play this game today. Let's try to win this ball game. So let's go out there and win this game today. And then tomorrow, let's try to win that game. I think that the whole series thing has gotten a little too much. I think they just need to, make it more micro. Let's win today's game. And then tomorrow when we play that game, let's win tomorrow's game. And so I think they start thinking a little bit more micro. I think they'd be helpful too.
Get 3 in the first inning, 3 runs in the first inning, have everybody in that dugout sort of like, exhale a little bit and take it from there.
I hear you.
Get a Harper 3-run homer. We've talked about him. He's won for his last 30. That is the worst slump of his career. It's the worst slump by any Phillies hitter since Rhys Hoskins was in a 1-for-36 slump in June of 2021. But Ruben, you talked about like the mood of the guys on the flight. Bryce on Sunday when he talked, that was when he said that the superstars got to show up. He felt kind of like he sounded tense and tight and really upset with his play. And then when he talked on Wednesday, we talked to him on Wednesday, he almost seemed he had a different vibe to him. Matt Gelb at The Athletic said, hey, you're in this 1-for-30 slump, blah, blah, blah. And then the interview ends. And then he turns to Gelb and goes, oh, I thought it was way worse. So he kind of like a gallows humor thing. I don't know. Like, I almost feel like, he's I don't know. He kind of relaxed in that moment maybe. And maybe we'll see a different animal from him coming into this road trip, but you got to get him going.
Yeah, it's clear that he's such an important part of this team. He's such a good hitter. For him to go through these slumps, it does affect the rest of the team because he's such a central part of the offense. That said, I mean, this offense is good enough that when he's not going well, the other guys should be able to pick it up in some way, shape, or form. Sure. And unfortunately, they've had Turner and Schwarber and he really not, and Bohm just starting to come out of it. I mean, none of those guys were like pounding it. So it makes it difficult when you have 3 of your top 4 guys in that lineup really not doing very much. That tends to make things a little bit more tense. But hey, I think it's just a matter of, you said it, Jim, they got to relax and just go play. Go play, guys, and let themselves be themselves. Know thyself.
Know thyself. Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, you got JT's been struggling. Marsh has been struggling. Harper, of course, we know. Turner's really been struggling. Some of those other guys. So, yeah, go out, have one game, win, feel a little bit better about yourself.
What do we
maybe win a series?
And Seattle, they can really pitch. They've struggled with offense though.
They sure have.
Last 2 or 3 games, last 3 or 4 games, they put some runs on the board. I mean, a couple additions in Turner and Rosarena, but last few games they have put some runs on the board. They really, I mean, these are 2 of the overall statistics for the season. 2 of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. I think Seattle might be number 1.
Yep.
On the pitching front, because we probably won't get together until Monday, what do we expect from Zach Wheeler on Sunday?
I think he's gonna throw a complete game shutout. I really do. I honestly believe.
Why?
I think
Why?
I just feel like
pissed?
he's got a little. I think he's pissed. I think he's pissed, and I think he's like, you know what? I'm not happy about my last performance. It's time for me to just go bust. And I think
Zach
he's going to do it.
Zach can
does
get
not
salty when he doesn't pitch well.
He can get salty. I think he's going to bounce back in a fine way.
I kind of feel the same way. I kind of feel like he's probably been stewing in that outing for about 4 days, and somebody might pay.
Zach is. I agree with you there. I think Zach has probably been sitting there going, I can't believe I gave up 7 runs to the Yankees in that game. That was, and that's probably bothering him a little bit. So they got Tyler Phillips tonight, Colby Allard tomorrow, then Zach Wheeler on Sunday. So, they're hoping they can get something to watch, guys, as this road trip continues. Ranger Suarez possibly coming back in Arizona. Taijuan Walker's going to throw another rehab start early next week with Lehigh Valley. And Rob said they could come back around the same time. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but maybe Taijuan Walker will be back soon, which means probably, Tyler Phillips.
Maybe Colby Allard.
I'm saying if Ranger and Taijuan both come back at the same time. Yeah. Allard definitely will be the first man out.
No doubt.
Phillips is going to have something to say about how patient they are in bringing back probably Walker. Maybe they, take their time a little bit because they get another good one from Tyler Phillips. I'm in no hurry to move on from him. I keep riding that baby.
Yeah, because Walker really hasn't thrown all that well, and he didn't throw well in his first rehab outing. So it'd be interesting to see whether you're right, Jim. I mean, I listen. This kid's earned his opportunity. He's pitched extraordinarily well. I am interested to see how he bounces back from that outing, his last outing. We've seen complete game shutouts and the following effort afterwards. We'll see how this kid handles it against this sort of anemic offense. You're right, Jim. They've starting to swing the bat a little bit better, and they've gotten two better bats in that lineup. That said, they're still pretty terrible offensively.
Yeah.
And they racked up a lot of those runs against the White Sox, who stink.
That's right. Yeah, they stink, boy. Oof.
So we'll see. So we'll see how it goes.
I mean, how hard must it be to show up to the ballpark every day if you're a Chicago White Sox?
It's awful. It's historically awful.
They're on pace to lose like over 120 games.
Do they win 40 games? Do they win 40 games? That's the question.
Somebody said, I think this was.
There are many minor league AAA and AA teams that can beat them right now.
I think this was on foul territory or fair territory that said if you take out their 2 14-game losing streaks, they still have the worst winning percentage in baseball. That's bad. That's bad. And they didn't trade anybody. They didn't really trade anybody either. They should have gotten more than something. Jumpstart this rebuild. That's a whole other story. It could be worse, Phillies fans. It could be Chicago White Sox.
That's correct.
Well, things are actually, you talk about micro and macro. In the micro, things are difficult right now. In the macro, this team still has a lot of good things going for it.
And you know what else, nationally speaking, Foul Territory, MLB Network, watching all those shows the last week. no one's talking about how the Phillies are screwed or how they're in trouble or how they're nervous, because it's just kind of like, the Phillies are kind of playing bad right now. But nationally speaking, nobody is worried about the Phillies. Phillies fans and people that watch them every day, of course, I think they get a little tense, a little tight. But nationally, everybody's going, okay, it's going to be Phillies, Dodgers, two best teams in the National League. What's going to happen in the American League? So perspective, little perspective as we end the show. Jim, go out and enjoy the garden today. Send me a picture of your kick-ass tomato sandwich.
Tighten up your jungle a little bit.
I
trim the jungle.
I'm teaming with tomatoes. I'm gonna make gonna freeze some.
I could see him sweating, shirt off,
going through the machete, going through his tomato vines.
Fighting with the bunnies and the groundhogs and the deer.
Yeah,
we'll try to bring some wins from the West Coast here, boys.
All right,
see how it goes,
guys. We'll be back on Monday. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Smell you later, boys.
Smell you, Jim.
This is The Phillies Show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to The Phillies Show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. If you like what we do, give us a review. Tell a friend. Catch Ruben, Jim, and me on Phillies Nation TV, presented by Valley Forge Tourism. New episodes air an hour before every Saturday Phillies game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Replays air throughout the week and on PhilliesNation.com. Get more of Ruben's analysis during, before, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Read Jim at the All City Network at allphly.com. Find more of me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and occasionally on MLB Network.